5 tips to increase your dead hang time. Hang longer. I'm currently at 47 seconds on this bar. Most people fail here, not because their grip gives out, but because of something happening in their shoulder, not their hand. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact thing killing your hang time. And tip number 4 alone added 22 seconds to my hang in 1 week. If you've watched other dead hang videos, you already know use chalk and lose weight. I'm not wasting your time with that. These 5 tips are things I haven't seen explained properly anywhere else, including the one mistake that's capping almost everyone's hang time under 60 seconds. Quick context. I coach grip and calisthenics athletes, and I've tested this on dozens of people. If you train grip, pull-ups, or climbing, subscribe now, because this channel is about to get very useful for you. Let's get into it. Here's the mistake I promised you. Most people hang with their shoulders shrugged all the way up to their ears, completely passive. That feels easier for the first 10 seconds, but it puts 100% of the load on your finger flexors with zero support from your back. Your grip fatigues fast because it's working alone. Instead, before you even lift your feet off the ground, pull your shoulder blades down and slightly back, like you're trying to tuck them into your back pockets. This is called packing the shoulder. It engages your lats and rear delts, which take a measurable amount of load off your forearms. Try it right now. Even off the bar, shrug up, then pull down and feel the difference in tension. That's the position you want the second your feet leave the floor. This one change alone typically adds 10 to 15 seconds for someone who's never done it before, because you're no longer asking your forearms to do a job your back should be helping with. But packing your shoulder only works if tip 3 doesn't cancel it out, and almost nobody knows about tip 3. Second tip, and this is the one climbers know, but lifters usually don't. Most people train grip strength with things like farmer's carries or plate pinches, closed hand, crushing grip. But a dead hang isn't a crushing grip. It's an open hand, static hold. Your fingers are extended over the bar, not wrapped in a fist around a handle. These use different muscles. Farmer's carries mainly hit your crushing muscles. Dead hangs rely much more on your finger extensors and the connective tissue in your fingers holding an open, hooked position under constant tension. So if you only train crushing grip, you'll get strong hands that still fail early on a dead hang, because you never trained the specific position. The fix: do open hand hangs as their own exercise, separate from your grip training days. 3 sets of max effort open hand hangs, 2 to 3 times a week, with at least a day of rest between sessions since the connective tissue recovers slower than muscle. This is the specificity principle. The body adapts to the exact demand you place on it. Train the hang, not just grip strength in general. Now here's the mental trick that pro climbers use to add 20 to 30% to their hang time without changing anything physical. Most hang time videos say, remember to breathe and move on. That's useless advice. Here's what actually happens. When you're hanging and your grip starts burning, your instinct is to hold your breath or breathe in short, shallow gasps from your chest. That spikes your heart rate, which increases how fast lactic acid builds up in your forearms, the burning sensation that makes you let go. The fix is a specific pattern: slow diaphragmatic breathing, a 4-count inhale through the nose, a 4-count exhale through the mouth, starting from the moment you grip the bar, not after it starts burning. This keeps your nervous system calmer, which delays the point where your brain decides to force your hand open. This directly connects back to tip 1. If you shrug your shoulders up to your ears, you physically restrict your rib cage and can't breathe diaphragmatically. You're forced into shallow chest breathing. That's why the shoulder position and the breathing have to work together. Skip one, and the other stops working. Practice this breathing pattern on your very next hang. Count it out loud in your head. It sounds simple, but almost nobody actually does it under fatigue. They only remember it when they're already struggling, which is too late. If this is already more useful than what you've seen elsewhere, tap like now. It genuinely helps this channel, and I promise tip 4 is the one that made the single biggest difference for me personally. This is the tip that added 22 seconds to my hang in a week. Most people train dead hangs one of 2 ways: max effort single attempts, or long, easy submax holds. Both are incomplete on their own. Instead, use what I call wave loading, repeated near max holds with short, incomplete rest. Here's the exact protocol. Hang for 80% of your max time. Drop, rest only 10 seconds, then hang again until failure. Repeat that for 4 to 5 rounds. Why this works? Your grip's failure point isn't just about maximum strength. It's about how well your muscles clear fatigue byproducts and keep firing under accumulated stress. A single max effort hang trains your peak, but wave loading trains your ability to keep gripping when you're already fatigued, which is exactly the state you're in during the final 10 seconds of any long hang. You're training the exact physiological state you're trying to extend. Do this 2 times a week, not more. This method is demanding on your connective tissue, and under-recovering here will set you back further than skipping a session. One more thing before tip 5. If you're doing everything right and still plateauing, it's usually because of a wrist position mistake nobody talks about. I'll show you in a second. Last tip, and it's the wrist mistake I just mentioned. Most people let their wrists sit in whatever position feels natural, usually slightly bent backward, extended. Under fatigue, that extended position puts more strain on the tendons crossing the wrist, which causes earlier failure that feels like grip fatigue, but is actually a wrist tendon limitation. Here's a 5-second self-test. Hang for 5 seconds and pay attention to where you feel the burn first. If it's on the top of your forearm, near the wrist rather than deep in your fingers and palm, your wrist angle is working against you. The fix is to actively flatten your wrist into a neutral, straight line with your forearm before you commit your full body weight. Same setup principle as tip 1's shoulder pack. Small adjustment, but it changes which tissue is taking the load. And it's the difference between failing at 40 seconds because of your wrist versus actually reaching your true grip limit. Combine all 5 of these: packed shoulders, open hand specific training, controlled breathing, wave loading, and neutral wrist position. And you're not just doing generic hang more advice. You're addressing every actual failure point: shoulder, muscle specificity, nervous system, fatigue resistance, and joint mechanics. Quick recap so you can actually use this today. 1. Pack your shoulders down before you leave the ground. 2. Train open hand hangs separately from crushing grip work. 3. Breathe on a 4 count in, 4 count out from the very first second. 4. Use wave loading. 80% max, 10-second rest. Repeat 4 to 5 times, twice a week. 5. Keep your wrist neutral, not bent back, and use the 5-second burn test to check yourself. Do these consistently for 3 to 4 weeks, and track your time every session. Most people see a real jump within the first 2 weeks, especially from tips 1 and 5, since those are instant technique fixes, not things that require building new strength. Here's what I want you to do. Hang right now using tip 1 and tip 5 together and comment your new time below. I read every comment, and I want to see how much just these 2 free adjustments add for you. If you already beat your old time, drop it below, I'll reply. If you want the full program I used to build these 5 things together, it's linked below. Subscribe if you want more of this. No fluff, no generic tips, just what actually works. See you in the next one.